Chelsea seem to be gathering some steam, right?
Sort of momentum, yes.
Some sort of momentum. They defeated Dortmund 2-0 at Stamford Bridge, and that has come off the back of their first win in a long time in the Premier League, and now they've played against a Dortmund side that was considered a proper contender, for them.
Yeah.
And they scored 2.
Yeah, good result for Chelsea. Raheem Sterling on the score sheet. That Havertz penalty, I don't know, it was kind of dodgy refereeing because at that point it's still 1-1 in the tie, and when Havertz, the first penalty was cancelled out because of encroachment, but even on the second penalty there was encroachment again, and you feel like there's encroachment on literally every single penalty you want. Referees can stop matches there if they like. So yeah, Dortmund felt hard done by, but yeah, congrats to Chelsea, and let's see if they can kick on from it.
So we're kicking off the action today on Sangalo with the NBA, right? 2 freak incidents actually happened just before the game started. Kevin Durant twisted his ankle, and Jonathan Kuminga as well twisted his ankle. But in Kevin Durant's case, the Phoenix Suns went on to win. But for Jonathan Kuminga, the Golden State Warriors ended up losing.
Yeah, like you said, freak injury during the warm-up, no one around him. Durant appeared to slip and his ankle rolled. Like the freeze frame of it is, it can hurt me watching my ankle hurt watching that. Bad. But apparently he's in good spirits about it, and they're going to reevaluate it in 2 weeks. So I guess they feel he might not be out that long.
Yeah.
Regards to Kuminga, I don't think the analysis has come back yet on that, how long he'll be out for. But yeah, hopefully Durant is back soon and back healthy and ready for the playoffs.
Of course, the Phoenix Suns won that one 132-101 against Oklahoma City Thunders, and of course in the playoff run up to the playoffs, they're looking quite good in the Western Conference. Currently sitting 4th, 37 wins and 29 losses.
Yeah, I mean, no. The Suns, before they got Durant, was a good team, a team that should make the playoffs with Devin Booker and CP3. So I guess now it's just be about climbing the ranks so they can so the seeding works out in their favor. But trust me, with the way this team is now, nobody wants to be playing the Phoenix Suns in round one.
True that. But talking about Golden State Warriors, something interesting has been happening, in the build-up to the Grizzlies versus Warriors game. That is the back and forth between Dillon Brooks and Draymond Green.
I feel like
it's too much talk. It's too much talk. Just play your basketball and move on.
That's Draymond for you, man. That's half of what Draymond does. He's the mouthpiece of the Golden State Warriors. He's the heart and soul. He's the one that will pick the fights because Steph Curry is a cute little light skinned guy. So Draymond, he feels like he has to play that role. And I guess as his career has gone on and his abilities have kind of dwindled, he's becoming more of a podcaster. So being in the so this is where Draymond gets his rocks off these days. And
talking about being a podcaster, that's what Dillon Brooks said after the game. He said, he does his podcast. That's cute for him. Let's continue doing that. But of course, Golden State Warriors ended up losing. And I was looking at the standings in the Western Conference. They're pretty down bad. Yeah. Currently sitting 6th, just one place above the play-in spots. And
it hasn't been a good season for the reigning champions. Steph's been injured quite a bit. Clay, his form is on and off since his injury. Like I said, Draymond is wavering out. Jordan Poole hasn't been lighting up like he was back then. But it's a good team with championship pedigree. If they get in the playoffs, even if they're the 7th or the 8th seed, the first seed does not want to see the Golden State Warriors. So you can find a state where the team in first is trying to avoid playing them.
True that. That's interesting on the Western front. In the Eastern side of things, Milwaukee Bucks currently running away with it. And of course, we know who's going to play in the play-in tournaments. We know who's going to play in who's eliminated actually from playoff contentions in the Eastern Conference. The Detroit Pistons are out of it completely. And in the Western Conference as well, Houston Rockets are out, San Antonio Spurs are out. But let's leave NBA for now and quickly run into football. Interesting stuff happened over the week in the UCL, in the Europa League. Big games. But the first thing that I want to talk about in the UEFA Champions League is PSG. And that leads us to the question of the day. PSG have been knocked out of this same stage for how many seasons running? Should Kylian Mbappé leave PSG? That's the question of the day, and we're putting it out to the fans out there. Anywhere you're watching this, let us know your thoughts in the comment sections below. Should Kylian Mbappé leave PSG?
Yeah, I think from So there's two ways to look at it. It can be, from one side, Mbappé, should you leave or why should you run from the grind? Like, you're a star boy player, gets PSG over the line, so and so. But then there's the other point that he's still a young player and the PSG environment might just not be capable of producing the Champions League or these big honors. So it's about whether he wants to make the selfish decision or if he has that attachment to Paris, which I don't think he has. But if I were Kylian Mbappé, I would leave PSG. It's a sinking ship. They never get it right. Yeah, what is that?
That's the thing. They never get it right on the big stage. The Champions League is that one elusive title that they've literally bossed the Ligue 1. They've won the Ligue 1 over and over and over again. They brought in Neymar, brought in Messi. And
it's like their recruitment just doesn't make sense. Like PSG, it's become a lifestyle brand. Like I won't be surprised if PSG still went on to get Cristiano Ronaldo just to say they had Ronaldo and Messi now. Like they don't make, and they're the one team I would say will do that because they don't make decisions. I don't think they make serious footballing decisions. And they spend all the money in the world. But when you look at that side on paper, like that midfield, you really can't compete with most of the other midfields in Europe. Like Bayern's midfield of Goretzka and Kimmich is way better than that. Yes, they have Verratti, but who are all these Vitinha, Danilo, all these people? It's very top heavy. And Ramos, yeah, he's a good player. And to be fair to Ramos, he was one of the better players on the night.
He was the best player for PSG on the night.
To be fair to him, but I feel like is Ramos the player he should be signing at this stage in his career, at this point? Like, as in get a younger, better centre-back who can perform all through the season. So yeah, PSG, they're not serious. As in, they're the ones that will get Jordan on their jersey. They're the ones that Neymar will be allowed to bring his friends and family to the stadium whenever he likes. And with that type of, and even the managers that they get, they haven't really gotten the cream of the crop.
But that's the thing, right? With the current manager now, we sort of saw somebody.
Yeah, we thought that they got someone that had like he's a tough man mentally and maybe he can keep them under check. But that doesn't really seem to be the case. Neymar is always getting it. PSG just can't be taken seriously, and Mbappé, he should jump ship now while he can, to be honest.
And more damning for the PSG attack, they did not score a goal in this.
I mean, that's criminal. How do you put
over
together
2 games?
How do you put together an attack like that? And it's not as if Bayern have the greatest defense in Europe.
Well,
it's quite embarrassing, to be honest.
Yeah. Anyways, moving on from Bayern Munich and PSG's woes, we had Tottenham getting knocked out of the Champions League. I watched that second leg game in the Tottenham, what's the name of their stadium? Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And it was a very, very interesting game against AC Milan. AC Milan have they are a very good transition side. Their counter-attack is blistering, it's crazy. Rafael Leao is on something else. But Tottenham were knocked out, having played 1-0 in Milan and then playing 0-0.
So they didn't score a goal in either side, kind of like the PSG situation. But this is just PSG, at least they're playing against Bayern Munich. This is an AC Milan side that's not really great. It's not great on paper. It's not performing that great.
But they're doing well. They're currently, I think, 2nd or 3rd in Serie A.
They're doing all right, but I feel like they're not of Champions League quality at the moment. Like, in that game, the reason they got through was they defended very well in that game. So it's not even as if, like, over the time, they scored 1 goal. So I think this is a lot about Tottenham should feel like they've let themselves down. How do you play these 2 matches without scoring a single goal? Harry Kane, Son Heung-min, Richarlison. Yeah. And I feel like a lot of questions need to be asked about Antonio Conte. He's failed on the Champions League stage. We mentioned this last time he'd won a Champions League knockout in 2013 against Celtic.
A long time ago.
He loses every single time. And I don't know whether it's Conte or he has put some blame on Tottenham because this is the history of Tottenham. Like, good things never happen to Tottenham.
Yeah. It's crazy because watching that game, it looked like Harry Kane is a shadow of himself. Son Heung-min as well seems to be playing, he seems to be playing something else.
Yeah, Son is definitely a shadow of himself. Kane is still, even at Kane's base level, like, I think because the team is structured to play around Kane, so Kane can still eat. So if it was structured to play around Son, maybe Son's numbers would be better, not as good as normal. The way Kane's numbers are pretty good because they play just through Harry Kane. But yeah, Son, the way Tottenham play isn't good. And this was something that we noticed at the start of the season. Like, while they were winning matches and it still looked okay, too soon to judge. Like, the way they attack, they just attack with too few players up the pitch. It's just Harry Kane and maybe someone else in and around there. Someone's having to do so much other work. When we know this is one of the best finishers in the world, it's just not working. And I think something needs to give. Either the manager needs to go or these players need to go. And we're seeing Harry Kane is linked to other people. I won't be surprised if he takes it out this time.
Talking about the manager needing to go, I saw something this morning preparing for the show. Players in the Tottenham Hotspur setup are asking Mauricio Pochettino to come back to the club.
I think that was a big mistake from Tottenham, letting go of Pochettino. That was one of the best upcoming managers in the world. And they kind of do seem vindicated because of how life went for him afterwards. But I feel like it's working for a chicken or egg. They sacked him, would they have looked that bad? And yeah, I think that was a big mistake. And going back to him, probably won't be the worst thing in the world. Maybe he can rejuvenate the squad if they're trying to keep these core players. But I think the main players, Kane is probably going to leave at the end of the season. Son, if Kane leaves, Son, the big boys are going to start looking at Son. So they might get manager worse than Pochettino, man.
Yeah. That's definitely one to look out for. It looks like the players are disenchanted under Antonio Conte.
It's bad vibes. He always does this. It's bad vibes.
It's sick. But yeah, Tottenham. Let's move on to another part of London where Chelsea seem to be gathering some steam, right?
Some sort of momentum, yes.
Some sort of momentum. They defeated Dortmund 2-0 at Stamford Bridge, and that has come off the back of their first win in a long time in the Premier League, and now they've played against a Dortmund side that was considered a proper contender, for them.
Yeah.
And they scored 2.
Yeah, good result for Chelsea. Raheem Sterling on the score sheet. That Havertz penalty, I don't know, it was kind of dodgy refereeing because at that point it's still 1-1 in the tie, and when Havertz, the first penalty was cancelled out because of encroachment, but even on the second penalty there was encroachment again, and you feel like there's encroachment on literally every single penalty you watch. Referees can stop matches there, they like. So yeah, Dortmund felt hard done by, but yeah, congrats to Chelsea, and let's see if they can kick on from it.
Yeah, definitely. Congratulations to Chelsea. And talking about contentious decisions in games in Europe, that's a wonderful segue into the Europa League game that happened between Sporting and Arsenal. Arsenal scored a second goal that was pretty contentious. The game ended 2-2. Both sides were pretty evenly matched, if we're being honest. But the second goal that brought Arsenal into the game, because it was 2-1 at that point, Saka made a foul leading up to that goal, and then Xhaka played, he kicked the ball
and then he
there was a deflection.
So Sporting should feel very hard done by that goal. Was it a foul? Yeah, I think it was a foul. I feel like the referee should just have spotted it, but after he didn't spot it, I understand not going back to it because it does look kind of soft. But yes, it was a foul, and then to now concede, that to me, I feel like the tie was over in that moment. Yeah. I feel like when Sporting were 2-1 up, if they got a third, then they really had a chance.
And they had a very big chance to get a third. The striker I think it was Paulinho or something, Paulinho. He just sort of skied the ball.
Yeah, so if they were able to go to the Emirates with a 2-0 cushion, especially, 1-0 wasn't even great. At 2-1, I'll still have backed Arsenal to come out because there's no away goals. But yeah, Sporting in trouble. I back Arsenal to go through now.
Yeah, definitely. That's one to look out for in the second leg of that fixture. Manchester United against Real Betis. A very, very, very good result for the Manchester United faithful. 4-1 against the Real Betis side that held Real Madrid 0-0 in Spain, and a Real Betis side that people, that you would consider to be one of those sides that just goes under the radar, but they're a pretty solid team.
Yeah, 4th in La Liga at the moment, having a decent campaign. Yeah, good result for Manchester United to I like how
coming off the back of that Liverpool game.
Coming off the back of that, especially playing the exact same lineup, I feel like that was a mental move, a psychological move to affect the players, and it definitely paid off. Good result for United.
Yeah, definitely big result for Manchester United. And talking about big results, AS Roma also had a very, very big result, defeating Real Sociedad 2-0. Of course, Mourinho eating good.
Yeah, Mourinho is having a great time there. Tammy Abraham's playing well. He got an assist. Paulo Dybala is really playing well again. He got an assist. The Roma faithful are loving him as we'd hoped they would. Yeah, it's a good run for Roma so far. They're doing all right in the league. Europa League for Jose will be brilliant.
Definitely. I mean, and we know how Jose Mourinho plays cup matches.
Exactly.
Roma are likely to go very far.
You have to keep an eye on Roma and Jose.
Yeah, definitely. And let's come back to the Premier League now. There's big matches happening tomorrow, especially with the race for Champions League. The final 4th spot is up for grabs. It looks like the first 3 are done and dusted. If we want to be honest, it looks like the first 3 are done and dusted. But the final 4th spot, and that's a race between Liverpool, Tottenham, and Newcastle. Of course, Liverpool.
Low-key Brighton.
And low-key Brighton, true, very true.
It's a race.
Brighton are they are putting their head in there. Bournemouth would host Liverpool. What are you thinking about that game?
I'd expect us to beat Bournemouth. Bournemouth are one of the worst sides in the league. It's sad that we beat for 9-0 last season, and coming off the confidence I would have gotten off the match against Manchester United, I expect Liverpool to beat Bournemouth. But against the Premier League, it's a 12:30 kickoff, but knowing all that, I'll still say Liverpool will beat Bournemouth.
Okay, quickly, moving on. Leicester City versus Chelsea. These are two other teams that are, just maybe a little bit above the mid-table pack, right there in the Champions League, Europa League places.
Both having disappointing campaigns. It's really hard to split this. Leicester at home, I'm going to say that's going to be a draw. Chelsea still, they've got some results, but they're not convincing me. That Sterling goal, the ball does bounce, and they got the penalty line. So, draw.
Okay, Tottenham at home again against Nottingham Forest tomorrow.
I'll say Tottenham win it. I'll say they'll bounce back to win it.
Yeah. Okay, and then Crystal Palace play host to Manchester City. Of course, we understand that it's a very, very tricky one. Crystal Palace are a very, very good side. And they are a very, very good side.
It's very set up to play against you on the counter-attack. Tulisic, Zaha, Eze, they can transition really well.
And they do well against the big sides.
They do. They can upset a big side. I'll probably have to go with City still. They can't afford to drop more points. If City drop points again, whilst Arsenal pick up points, then at that point I'll say title race is over. So yeah, I'll go with City together.
Talking about Arsenal picking up points, they have an opportunity to do that at the Craven Cottage on Sunday. Fulham versus Arsenal. Fulham are also a good side, a side that have played very well this season. Played way beyond expectation. Really currently sitting, pretty in the middle of the league, in the middle of the table in the Premier League. That's going to be a very tricky fixture for Arsenal as well.
No, I feel something my gut saying Fulham will get results. I feel like Arsenal, it does feel like maybe they've got to this stage of scraping results a little too early in the season, like towards the end. So it's like, are they going to scrape results all through? Like there's
still a healthy
games. There's still a lot of games. That's a third of the league left. Are you going to scrape results for a third of the league? And Fulham are a good side. Going away in the Premier League is always a difficult game. London derby. I don't know why I feel like something happened this weekend. I'm going to keep an eye on that game.
Yeah, that definitely is one of the things that keeps things interesting in the Premier League. Fulham versus Arsenal. That's one that we believe that you, the fans out there, should give us your predictions. If you're able to predict the scores correctly, the correct scores before the match kicks off, you get to win airtime, courtesy of our man, Jerry. And moving on from the Fulham versus Arsenal game, there's the Manchester United versus Southampton game. That's one that Manchester United, I believe, needs to just come and consolidate, just continue that, It's just a case of the Liverpool game was a blip. Just go back to the way things were. The Real Betis match 4-1 was a sign that okay, yes, they can continue the way they've gone on for the most part this season. But Manchester United against Southampton at Old Trafford.
Yeah, very big game. United do need to pick up those points. Dropping points in back-to-back games won't be good. So yeah, I will go with United to win that game. Southampton aren't a great side. There are not that many goals in that side. And yeah, United, if you take away that Liverpool game, they're a pretty solid side. And yeah, I'll back them.
Okay, that's very, very good. Let us know your predictions in the comment sections below, especially for the Fulham versus Arsenal game that's happening on Sunday. You stand a chance to win airtime if you predict the correct score before the match kicks off. And there's also the question of the day. PSG are out of the Champions League again in the round of 16, is it?
Yep.
Right? Should Kylian Mbappé leave PSG? Should Kylian Mbappé leave PSG? That's the question of the day. Let us know in the comment sections anywhere that you're watching this. Before we wrap things up on today's episode of Sangalo, we're going to touch on, the Formula One very, very quickly. Lewis Hamilton has had a bad first race in Formula One. The second race coming up this weekend, and he has come out to say that, I'm a driver. I know what the car needs. I know what the car doesn't need. The Mercedes team did not listen to me when I told them what was wrong with the car last season.
It's too early in the season for that. So
it's too early in the season for that, but the truth is the truth, right? The car does not look good. It does not look like there was, there has been a massive upgrade from the shambles that it was last season.
With the competition last season.
So he's saying that they did not listen to him, and he's calling them out.
Damn, that's kind of message. That would make for a great few episodes of Drive to Survive.
Right?
We're hoping Hamilton can bounce back in this race. But yeah, like you said, the way he looked in that first race, the Mercedes didn't move that well. The Red Bull is still flying, and the Ferrari is looking bad. And that's so they're looking worse, and they've looked about the last two seasons. So Yeah, it's not looking great for us Hamilton fans.
Talking about the Red Bull flying, there is conversation between McLaren and Red Bull. Both team principals have come out to confirm that McLaren are trying to get Red Bull to manufacture their engine. Of course, you know that in Formula One, another team can manufacture your engine for you. We have that with Ferrari and Haas.
Exactly.
Yes. So Red Bull are in conversation with McLaren to provide them an engine, and I believe
will that be during the course of this season or for next season?
For next season, that's a conversation for next season, because of course you cannot make big changes to your engine during the season. You do that at the start of the season, and the engine you start with is what you have to finish with. But that's a conversation for next season, and I believe that if Red Bull do produce the engine for McLaren, that would be a massive battle between. Usually we have McLaren and and Alpine and Aston Martin battling for that that final fourth spot, but it will put McLaren in a very good place.
I can definitely see that too. The Red Bull, they do well in the constructors title. They've always done well in the constructors title, so they do not build a car, and Aston Martin, they will become more of a problem because they're looking like a problem. McLaren, they're looking like a problem now already. Next season with that.
It's definitely going to be big. And to quickly wrap things up, there is the AFCON Under-20 third place match today at 3 p.m. Tunisia versus Nigeria, and that one is going to be big. Nigeria Under-20 have already qualified for for the Under-20 World Cup, so that is some positive. Can they go on to win the third place spot?
Yeah, it's a third place spot. We'll take it. It's a medal at the end of the day. It's big for these young boys against Tunisia. I'd back them because I feel Nigeria, I feel like there were unfortunate results coming into this. They look like a good side, and in the earlier stage, they look like a side that should progress far into the tournament. So falling off at this juncture, the semi-finals into third place, won't be too bad to win that.
Okay, let us know in the comment sections what you think about our fixture before it kicks off. Do not forget, the question of the day: should Kylian Mbappé leave PSG, considering how poorly PSG have performed in Europe over the past couple of seasons? Also, do not forget, we're expecting your predictions for the Fulham versus Arsenal game, and there's airtime to be won. Predict the correct score, the exact correct score, before the match kicks off on Sunday, and you stand a chance to win airtime. That's an episode. It was nice having you. Was nice having you guys watching us. It always is nice. It's good to see that. It's good to know that people watch these things and people appreciate these things.
Share,
subscribe, and let us know anything that you feel can be done to maybe improve. Anything that you'd like to see on the show.
We're welcome.
Of course.
Have a happy weekend. Safe.
Peace.